We own a few UK stocks in the portfolio. I think on the whole it's not as expensive as the US, and it's not as cheap as some parts of Europe. But I mean, we're sterling-based investors, and my clients are sterling-based investors. So the fund is a sterling-denominated fund. So we do own some stocks. Maybe in contrast to Johnson & Johnson, which everybody knows, it'd be interesting to talk about a smaller company. So we own a stock called Pressure Technologies. It's in the kind of oil servicing and equipment business. Its main business is that it manufactures extremely large, extremely high pressure cylinders, which are used in a number of different applications, the most important of which is in offshore drilling platforms, as well as drill ships, and they're used in the buoyancy systems for drilling rigs and drill ships. It's also they're used in submarines, and has some defense applications as well. And the company was, when I first started getting interested in the company, it was already slightly cheap. I mean, it's a very small company, and I think it has, one analyst covers it. It's based in Yorkshire. It's only about a 30 million market cap, so it's very small. Probably, shares change hands about 5 times a day, so any size trade can easily move the market. But it was, as I said, it was already somewhat cheap when I started getting interested in it. And then, of course, we had the big BP disaster in the Gulf of Mexico, and Obama reacted to that by putting a ban on new drilling activity in the Gulf of Mexico, and Pressure Technologies was hit very badly by that ban. And its order book dried up, and in the year following the Macondo accident, it took no new orders for these very large high pressure cylinders that it manufactures. In terms of revenues, it still hasn't recovered, but what has recovered is the order book, and obviously we're drilling again in the Gulf of Mexico. Oil price is pretty high. Its largest customer is National Oil Well Varco in the States, which in turn leases rigs and drill ships to the major oil companies. And there's a big opportunity with the find off the coast of Brazil, which I think should feed through into orders for Pressure Technology. So it sat there with now quite a strong order book, but the revenues are still depressed. These projects can take up to a year or 18 months for an order to translate through into revenues.